Welcome back. I respectfully disagree podcast, episode 106. Uh this is gonna be a fun topic today, man. It's every now and then I go from sports or current events and things like that, and then I'll throw in a fun topic here and there. And with everything that's going on right now, it's definitely a lot to talk about. Haven't forgot about the NBA finals, talking about all that, and Curry, Durant, then with some of the historic decisions that's been going on with our Supreme Court. Had a few friends reach out, want to talk about that. So it's definitely a lot going on that can be discussed. But today's episode, um, not sure if a lot of people are Star Wars fans or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and lay that out here right out the gate. This episode is gonna be about Star Wars. And first of all, I want to welcome Cory back to the podcast.
My man, it's a blessing to be back here. It's always great to converse with a fellow uh, sports fan like yourself, especially when, my school had the number one overall
Look,
draft
you
pick
took it
once
out. You took it out
again.
of my mouth,
So,
man. I was
you
going there.
know,
I was going there because you was actually on the episode we talked about March Madness,
hmm
you being a Duke fan and all that good jazz. And sure enough, your boy went number one, man.
number
I
one.
actually wasn't surprised by that. Were you?
No, a lot of people were thinking Jabari Smith was going to be number one, and he's a talented player. He just didn't do it for me this season. Once again, I'm biased. I think, truthfully, what P5 did, what Paulo did this year was phenomenal, fantastic. I think he's going to be the next LeBron-esque type player. Hopefully, Orlando can keep their number one overall draft pick this time and not let them end up on the Lakers 10 years
Look,
from
I saw
now.
that post floating around
I
too.
saw I saw it as well. It's like everybody Lakers just want to rob everybody of their talent and put them all on their team. But uh, you know he did a lot of great things. Went head to head with Holmgren and Gonzaga back in I think it was like early December or November. I can't remember
Something
when it
like that.
was, but we went head to head in the first half. He was killing them, giving them buckets by the boatload. The team Duke had this year was the best Duke team I think in the last was the best Duke team I think since we won it all in 2015. Um, and he was the star of that show, and a star of the team that had 5 NBA draft picks. So, you know,
Salute to
I,
y'all, man.
I wish I
Definitely.
wish we would have had more hardware with those 5 NBA draft picks. I don't really want to. I'm still got a
Look,
the 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 the
I'm
dagger still in
praying.
the heart. The
I'm
dagger still in
praying
the
we don't
heart.
even
But
go down that road because
no.
uh
But
this that was tough, man.
here's one thing I thought was very interesting from my observations of you guys' program over there, the Wildcats. How is it possible that the player gets drafted highest on your team didn't play a single game?
Didn't
Like, how
even
does that make you feel?
like honestly,
This is the second time that's happened to a Calipari team. You know who the other player was?
Canner.
Ennis Canner.
Yeah.
Number 3 overall, Ennis Canner. Crazy.
So here's the thing, because like we touched on it, I believe on that last episode, because I was just like, to me, I get it. Kudos to Calipari for turning the program around, bringing all the attention to Lexington, and the city benefited from that tremendously. Kudos to him as a recruiter and all of that. But I feel like as a coach, he just doesn't have what it takes. And he's turned Kentucky into a halfway house, in my opinion. I've been saying that for years. And to me, this is just more proof. Like, okay, the kid is a early transfer, early high school graduate or whatever, and you think, okay, cool. We already know the kid is box office. He's got talent. They're going to pull all the strings that they can pull to try to get him in second semester. We're going to hit the ground running. And okay, he's cleared, but now it's like, we don't know if he's going to play. He's just going to set it out till next year. And then once you started hearing all the rumors of like, okay, this kid literally might be a lottery pick, and it's like, you already knew where that was going to go. Like, you can't fault the kid for making a
Doing.
business
Mm-hmm.
decision. Like, who's going to turn down an opportunity at millions of dollars just to say, hey, I'm loyal to the university?
Trust me, I get it. I get it. There's a lot of times Duke guys have left. I'm like, God dang it, man, wish you would have stayed. Like people were on me on Twitter the other day for saying I thought Tyus Jones should have came back for another year. I said Trevor Keel should have came back for another year. I mean, people were thinking he was going to be top 20, top 25, and he goes in the second round like number 40 something to the Knicks. Like, these guys, I get it. You have an opportunity and to go, but man, college basketball, college sports in general is just it's never going to be the same. For better or worse, I like to see these guys get the money that they're getting. I can't fault them for it. I feel bad for some other athletes and some other students that aren't able to reap those same benefits because they're in the wrong sport, or I've been working my butt off to get to this point academically for years, and I'm still having to come out and pay 40, $50,000 a year to go to the school or more. Where do I get any benefit like these guys do? I can't dribble a ball, I can't throw a football or anything like that, but I work my butt off to get into the school compared to some people that I had to get like a 15, 1600 on my SAT, and some of these guys just had to be able to breathe, and it sucks.
Right.
It's life ain't fair, but it is what it is right now. Hopefully college athletics gets to a really good place to where we're not always having to worry about guys like we are now, and females as well, because I know in college basketball on the women's side they're getting their money, but they're still not getting what the men's
Exactly.
side is getting.
Exactly.
And probably track female athletes are getting money, but they're not getting anything close to what a football player would get,
Not at all.
or a male track athlete probably. So hopefully somebody gets their due and it just levels out. But
Right.
it is what it is.
And it's going to take time because I feel like here, I'm gonna give it three to 5 years before somebody's gonna have to come in and make some kind of rules to where it's gonna have to balance itself out. You mentioned Jones. I feel the same way about Tata. Like, tremendous kid again. All season it was like projection. He's a lottery. He's a lottery. And granted, in all the big games, in my opinion, it showed where he wasn't necessarily ready for that level of competition, in my opinion. And then how we went out in the tournament and his performance, I was just like, I don't know who's in this kid's ear. But then it's like, okay, you think about some of the NIL deals that he had, Porsche and Gatorade and stuff like that. So it's like, in his eyes, the red carpet has already been rolled out. He has a taste of that lifestyle. Why not go try to get the rest of it?
Mm-hmm.
But then he drops all the way down to what, 29th? And I'm like, come on,
Late.
man. Like, to me, why not come back? Big O came back. Why not try to run it back and say, you know what? Last season, we just didn't put it together, but we're motivated to try to do something
Do it
special.
again.
Right.
Because you guys are going to have the talent, of course, and with your best player, national player of the year, coming back, a guy that was a monster for you guys. I mean, he's like a Julius Randle evolved hybrid type of player.
Mhm.
He's talented, and you bring back a guard like Ty, a second year guy, and I mean, Auburn. You already saw what Auburn is losing.
Right.
Tennessee ain't gonna be like that again. Who's the other team? Arkansas may have some guys back, but really, you guys should. If Ty returns, even Sharp, if he would have come back and play, I mean, that's three guys right there that would have been, that are obviously NBA talent on the team. That, I mean, you guys right there would have been explosive beyond measure. And like if my man Wendell Moore would have came back, if Trevor Keels would have came back, along with the guys we got coming back right now, I mean, my God, I think, I mean,
Exactly.
Duke UK Final Four would have been inevitable. So, but man, look, we talking sports. We could go on
Right,
ahead
right.
and do that
But
for
it's
another
fun
day.
though, and I love it. I love it. You're right. I love it. So the whole point of this post, all right, like I said, this is for Star Wars fans out there. Um, Obi Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus. Um, Now I will put this disclaimer out there because I know there are some like die-hard Star Wars fans, like hardcore. They know all the ins and outs about everything. And this is where maybe this conversation will give me an opportunity to educate myself on things because I am a fan of the series, but I don't know if I know all the bells and whistles of everything. So when I saw that the Obi-Wan series was coming out, I had no idea of the background, anything that it was going to detail. So when I sat down and watched the first episode, I was blown away. And I was like, okay, cool. This is going all the way back to when they were kids. Now, hold on, because I don't want to put too many spoilers out there, just in case people hadn't watched it or whatever. We're going to try to have this conversation without just completely ruining it
Spoiling
for
it.
people. Right.
Look,
But when I saw that timeline, I'm like, okay, I was like, nah, this is dope. This is cool. And I'm one of those people where I try to let a few episodes build so that way I can watch two or three of them at a time. And then, you know what I'm saying, just let it kind of build. So then once I saw, I was like, okay, season for conclusion, I'm like, wait a minute, bro. Like, this is only 5 or 6 episodes. Like, what? So then I saw your post. And your post was like Obi-Wan is/was bad. And I was like, wait a minute, like people really don't like this. So then I saw some comments, not only from you, but from other people on the internet. It was like, Disney has ruined Star Wars and da 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 da. And I was like, wait a minute, what am I missing? Like, out of the 9 films, out of the Mandalorian, Han
mm-hmm.
Solo,
Oh,
Rogue One,
I'd have got them all ranked and ready for
I'm
you.
sitting there like, I enjoyed them. Like I was entertained by it. So I was like, I want to have this conversation not only for myself, but maybe for other people out there that are interested in this conversation. And I'm going to give the floor to you. It's completely yours because I was blown back by that. So elaborate before we dive into ranking some of these films and things like that. Like dive into your remarks in terms
Works.
of you
Okay.
feel that Disney ruined it.
Well, this goes back for really everything that we've come to experience from Disney Star Wars for the last 5-6 years, ever since they came out with episode 7, The Force Awakens.
Okay.
And really, it, with this show in particular, I think it wasn't the tipping point. The tipping point happened a long time ago. We're just at the bottom. We're at the bottom of the hill, with the rest of the garbage that's
So
already
this was just
rolled
one.
down.
Oh, here we go. Typical
Yeah.
Disney. Who cares? Gotcha.
What we have here is another bait and switch. And we were sold a ticket of goods. Oh, this is going to be Obi-Wan's story. We're going to see what he's been doing since, episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. We're going to see how what all he's been dealing with and stuff like that. But really, what this show turned out was it turned into the Reva show, a character that one Disney created out the thin blue, and really focused much more the storyline around her, plotting and trying to get Obi-Wan, but then really, without
Right.
having to spoil her, she's trying to work her way up to someone else. But at the same time, Obi-Wan is really, he's really shown to be the figure that we see at when we're first introduced to Obi-Wan in the original Star Wars movie, New Hope, is a character that, is wise. He has great strength among him. He's a man that he knows where he's going. He's grounded. And the Obi-Wan that we have right here is a fool and a coward. He is soft. He's weak. And really, this goes with a lot of Disney. Marvel is a big culprit of this. They take a lot of these strong male characters that we've loved and absolutely emasculated them and ruined them. And they've done it to build up their own Disney Star Wars characters that they create. So you take a strong Obi-Wan, you ruin him to build up Reva, and it's like, why are we doing this?
Okay. From that perspective, I see what you're saying. Because going into it, like I said, I had no idea what the expectation was or what character. I didn't do any kind of research. And that's kind of how I am now here of late with anything. Like, I don't want to see any previews, like even with Thor getting ready to come out.
Oh, that's going to be another great one too. Another great, terrible.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like based on little clips that I've seen, I'm like, I have no idea where they're going with this. It looks cheesy, but I was like, I don't want to read into it. Don't want to see nothing. Like when I go in there, I don't have no expectations. Just sit down and watch a movie. So, like I said, when I saw that and I saw her character, I was intrigued by it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of the fact that a lot of the backlash that she was receiving, and that's expected because they've done the same thing with The Force Awakening with Finn. So it's like, at that point, I found myself kind of rooting for her. And I'm one of those people where I like the dark side.
Of course.
We did a top 10 villains episode. I forgot what episode it was, but it's like Darth Vader's, he's up there for me. So to see all of that and to see them introduce him and blah, 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 like I was blown back by it. So listening to you and listening to your explanation, I get why people would feel that way. So it makes sense. But I still enjoyed it.
Well, there are parts of this series as a whole that I enjoyed. I think the scene where Reva finally confronts a person that she was after this whole time, and that person just completely overpowers her. And I thought that was marvelous. It was probably the best choreographed action scene of the show. And at the end of it, I'm just like, okay, get rid of her. Get rid of her and be done with her. And that's the thing, is like, you could tell once that scene is over and the last episode begins, like, really, oh my God, I hate, because I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it, but I feel like I'm about to spoil it. But like, there's huge continuity issues that occur. You have the starship chasing after Obi-Wan and his people, which is literally hours, maybe not even hours later after they get away. And then at the same time, you see Reva back on Tatooine. How does she get from?
That is a question that I had, because go ahead. My bad.
No, you're good. I'm just like, how does one get from where you are You're injured and wounded to another distant planet somewhere far off. You don't have your ship. You don't have anybody. They literally left. It's like, hey, bam, pow, I'm gonna shoot you. Okay, leave you for dead, and then 2 hours later you're in Nashville, Tennessee. How? I mean, that's 2 states away. How did you? How's that possible? It's not.
You know
That
what,
is
man?
that is what we were led to believe, and it's like it's stuff like that that bothers me with Disney Star Wars because the writing of it is so lazy, so sloppy, and yet they put it out there for us to just, oh yeah, I'll be a happy little pig and consume all this without even thinking about it.
Yeah, because that's exactly what's gonna happen. Like, there's like Star Wars is one of the biggest franchises ever, so it's like
Ever.
people are going to gobble it all up. And I
Correct.
swear, I came into this ready to hit this I respectfully disagree button, and 10 minutes in, it's like you got me already convinced, and it's like that is one of the frustrating parts on my end. That is my one complaint. I felt like there was so much more that they could have done with that series.
Mm-hmm.
You even could have stretched it out into seasons, in my opinion.
I honestly, I would have rather seen what they've done and what they've done with previous Star Wars shows. I would have rather them not do anything with this.
Oh
I would
wow!
have rather us not get any of this because here's what Disney Star Wars is going to do. They're going to, like I said, they're going to take our characters that we've loved. They've already done with Han. They've done with Leia. They've done with Luke. You see, they've done it with Obi Wan, and they're going to ruin them because the people that are running these shows are talentless hacks. I mean, the people that wrote this show didn't even know that Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader were the same person. Think about how crazy that is. You
Oh,
probably didn't even know that, did you?
look, no, not at
The
all.
people that are in charge of these shows are talentless hacks. Absolute talentless hacks. The only thing they do, the only thing they want to do is put in their agenda and have that agenda run the show. The most annoying character on the show is Princess Leia. You want to know why she's the most annoying character on the show? Because she's supposed to be 10 years old. First of all, I've been around 10-year-old girls. My niece is 10 years old. You have a daughter that's about that same age. That
Yep.
girl is not 10 years old. That's like a 6-year-old. Okay. She's
Right.
so annoying, but she seems to know it all. And then on top of that, she just runs rampant and does whatever she wants to do. She has her little droid Lola thing here, and it's, oh yeah, me and Lola are just in the woods having fun. Da, 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 da. I'm gonna go run off in the woods, and then she, some random guys come out of nowhere to kidnap her. One, how is this possible? Where's the security at around here, Alderaan? Where it
Oh
like
my
what?
God.
It's so lazy and sloppy. What they do is they say, hey, we want to get Obi-Wan and Leia together somehow. And then this is how we're gonna do it. Boom, boom. Oh yeah, that makes sense. We're gonna have her take it from this. Well, how are we gonna do that? And see, and all this show did was basically retcon everything that we know about episode 4. Like, really, you're gonna have so many of these main characters and coming together, interacting for the first time, but yet they're not going to know about this one huge major event that basically links them all together. What are you?
And that's my complaint, because I was like, okay, there's so many different angles that they could take with this, considering the fact that okay, they're introducing us to them as they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go all the way along till they grow up. And that's where the relationship between Leia and Obi-Wan kind of bridges to where she's like, okay, here's a new hope. Help me, Obi-Wan. Like, I'm
Yeah.
thinking that this is where we're going. But then, like you said, it's like boom, 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 it's over. And I was just like, okay, that part I will agree. Like, this is just lazy writing. Like, this was just da 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 da. But now that you are going into depth, I see it. I
But
see everything that you're saying.
but bro, it's like if you've seen, let's take the Rise of Skywalker. Have you seen that? The
Of
last Star
course.
Wars movie.
Of course, of course.
Okay. The worst part of that entire movie, which is to say the least, that movie is it's the worst Star Wars film ever made by far. Nothing will ever top that.
This is gonna be fun.
They go to the planet where the second Death Star is, and they have this random dagger that they found on this random planet. You know where I'm going. And it is this dagger, this is they get to stand this exact same point, and you hold the dagger up to the Death Star, and you're gonna supposed to look through it. You have to don't understand like how stupid this whole theory is. You have to literally stand at the exact spot, all right, on the ground for this to work. And now for it to work, this thing would have had to be made after the Death Star 2 was destroyed and crash landed on this planet. But yet this weapon was made long before the Death Star was destroyed. So yeah, that everything about it is lazy, it's worthless, it's infuriating and so
Oh
disrespectful to
my
true Star Wars fans.
God. Man, you might have just ruined my whole conversation. I
I'm
never
sorry.
thought about that. I never thought about that.
And let's go back to that movie once again, like Emperor Palpatine. We all saw Emperor Palpatine fall down the long shaft and get vaporized in Death Star 2. How is he alive?
And that's
How is he
honestly,
alive?
that's one of the parts that made me excited about the movie. Because I was like, okay, he's back. Like, this is genius. In my mind, I'm like, this is genius. Oh,
It would have
man.
been great if they would have said, "Oh yeah, this is a clone of Emperor Palpatine." Which, if you know the Star Wars lore, the expanded universe of Star Wars before Disney bought it, Emperor Palpatine had several young clones that came back and fought against Luke and Leia and all those guys. He was force strong. He had great ships. He had great armies and stuff like that. That would have been a great way to go. They did not go in that direction. They just said, "Hey, he has somehow manifested himself to come back, and he's been hiding on this planet somewhere far, far off that nobody can get to. But he got there himself somehow, some way. He got there himself some way, somehow. And yet he's been there for, I mean, between episode 6 and episode 9, not episode 6 and episode 9, episode 6 in episode 9 is like 30 to 40 years time have passed. Okay. And in that time frame, we learn, first of all, that, spoilers for this, Rey, the bestest ever, is his grandchild somehow, because Emperor Palpatine had a child with somebody we never see. And this is about what I hate. Don't build a story and base that story off of something that happens off the screen and have the audience had to react to something that happened off the screen. That's accept that is what, no, that's lazy. That's terrible writing. It happens all the time. I hate it. I can't stand it.
But can we not say the same thing about Anakin in a sense?
What about Anakin in a sense?
He just kind of popped up. Nobody knew where he came from.
Well,
and this is where, hold on before you say that, because you touched on something, and that's why I said in the beginning, this is an opportunity for me to learn, because I don't consider myself a Star Wars
person,
hardcore fan, because I didn't know the things about Palpatine and the clones and stuff like that. So that's interesting to me. So I don't know if that's where you're gonna go with the Anakin thing, where if you're a true Star Wars fan, you would know blah blah blah. So educate me, please, because that's how I kind of looked. I was like, okay, you look at episode 1, and then boom, there's this kid. He's all this knowledge, and he can see things and this and that, and then boom, we win him. He's no longer a slave, and we bring him and this and that, and then the rest is history. So it's like, I don't know. I felt like there was a lot of similarities.
I think with Anakin, and I get that point. I think it's easier to accept that one because it's the beginning of it and not the end where we're learning about more of who this Rey character is and everything. From what everybody believes Anakin's father is, they want to say he was conceived as like space Jesus,
Exactly, because that's
like
how
the
I looked
jet,
at it.
like the Jedi Force, some like combined together and basically impregnated his mother Shmi, and like he was born of the Force, like because his father is never really talked about from anything that I've ever seen or heard. I think that's one theory that is still common out there. But you have that, and I think George Lucas wasn't really sure where to go with it, so he just didn't touch on it at all, which is fine. Now, maybe if there was a book out there somewhere that I haven't heard or read that said, "Oh, his father was a slave that died," or whatever, or long before he, or shortly after he was born, or whatever, I think that would be fine as well. But this whole, Rey Palpatine has been on this planet for however many years, her parents dropped her off here to escape from the Emperor, and yet what, like, where
Yeah.
her parents come from, like, all this stuff is just like, why does this have to happen? Then you have, oh my god, you have so many you have the god dang it, the guy that was supposed to be in charge, the big baddie that gets killed in episode in the Last Jedi in the throne room scene.
Snoop or whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
Snope, Emperor Snope or whatever. This, yes, that was a character that we would have loved to have seen, more of. What's his backstory?
Exactly.
Just to see that he's a clone puppet being ran by Palpatine, however many, like, come on, like, why?
Oh my
There
God.
were so many better stories that Disney could have used when they first took over the Star Wars brand. That
Mhm.
would have been so much better than what we got. So many more great stories that could have been told. I mean, like, this, just the fact that they made the sequel trilogy, and the biggest gripe is you didn't have one scene where it was Han, Luke, Leia, and Chewie all together at one time on screen. That is so
You know what? You right.
terrible.
You
That's
right.
so terrible that you have this great franchise. I mean, Star Wars is beloved for its storytelling, the bond that these guys had, the things they overcame together, and for you to bring that back, and you have all the characters alive to do so, and you don't take the opportunity to do so, is so terrible.
Man, I was ready to argue with you all day. And I
Oh,
can't.
but
I
no,
can't.
I can go more. Let's bring it all the way back. All right. We're talking about The Last Jedi. And The Last Jedi, okay, they are running away from these gigantic empire type starships, you know. And this one ship is running away. It's like, oh yeah, the ship is like 2 miles in front of us, but we can't catch up. It's a very small ship and vessel, but we can't maneuver around this ship to block it. Even though there's like 80 of us in one of this ship, we can't do nothing about it. We can't send starfighters, we can't send TIE fighters after it or anything. So we're just gonna keep letting the ship, just keep, moseying down the road. And we're gonna keep shooting at it though to kind of get it, but then we're
Oh
not
man,
gonna get it.
you are killing. Oh
And the
my God.
same
You making
thing
me get ready to
happens.
hate it.
The same thing happens in episode 6. You have Vader's main starship is coming after Obi-Wan and his ship the exact same way. You see, there are there are TIE fighters in these vessels by the dozens and dozens that could have gone out and bam, 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 disabled it, destroyed the craft, whatever. We don't have to keep doing this slow roll. Oh, yeah, you're going to keep flying around, dodging my lasers for eternity. We don't have to do that. Okay.
Now I will agree with you in a sense there, because as I was watching episode 7, 8, and 9, that's where I saw like, okay, I feel like these are just carbon copies of what we've already seen. You just switch up the characters, but overall, on premise, we've seen all of this. Like it's literally the same story. So when you think about it in that sense, I can see where people are like, okay, Disney's just lazy. Like this is terrible writing. This is terrible. This. And like you said, they had the opportunities to bring all these characters and give the people what they really wanted, and they dropped
Correct.
the ball.
It's insulting. It's insulting to your intelligence as a Star Wars fan. It's like, because you know what these ships are capable of. All right. We've seen these ships overpower. How did the opening scene of the very first Star Wars movie is Darth Vader's ship literally overrunning the ship that Princess Leia is on and capturing it, swallowing it whole. You mean to tell me
Damn,
this ship
you
can't do
right.
the same thing? It's
You're
the
right.
exact same ship. It's
You
the
right.
exact same ship. And you're meaning to tell me that in all this time they were capable of doing that. They didn't do so? Really? You can't use a tractor beam to disable that ship and say, yeah, I'm gonna bring the ship in. And see, that's it's so infuriating to me. Like when Disney Star Wars is bad, it's really, really bad. When it's good, you have stuff like Rogue One. You have stuff like Mandalorian season 1. You know,
Yeah, Mandalorian was awesome.
yeah, Mandalorian was really good until they started letting Baby Yoda run the show, and now it's the Baby Yoda show. Because you will see, look, go out there and look at most Star Wars stuff. You will see Baby Yoda everywhere. He's become the main focus of the show. Matter of fact, he's become so big for Disney Star Wars, he's taken over other shows. You watch the Book of Boba Fett, the
That
last
is one that I haven't watched. Go ahead though, because you're not gonna spoil it for me. Because I just wasn't interested.
the last 3 or 4 episodes of that turn into Mandalorian season 2.5 and slash the Book of Baby Yoda. That's what it turns into.
That's what's gonna make me go watch it now.
Yeah.
Oh wow! But you know what? You're absolutely right. Um,
When they have a cash cow, they're going to do everything that they can to cash in on that cash cow. And it's sad because most of the merchandise becomes centered around that. It doesn't even become, I mean, the story is about, it's supposed to be about a great Mandalorian bounty hunter. And it starts off that way. It
yeah.
starts off that way. Great. I'm like, oh my God, this show is amazing. This is what I have been wanting from Star Wars. You know, it's like when you go, when when you're starving and you're hungry and somebody throws you a bag of your favorite potato chips, like, oh my God, I'm gonna smash this because I love it. It's live. It felt real compared to the Star Wars that we had been given. And then now I'm looking at it like, what is this crap? You mean to tell me this guy's been a bounty hunter for how many years is all of a sudden gonna get weak in the knees and he can't even make he's almost becoming incompetent in the job that he's supposed to be doing. It's like, come on, man, guys. Why do we have to take such something that was so great? And if you like Boba Fett, because Boba Fett's one of all-time great characters, don't watch it. At least season 1, hopefully season 2 when they come out with it. The main character says the main guy that plays him says he wants the show to be more Boba centric. He wants the real raw, fierce Boba. The Boba Fett that we got in this is so weak. So it,
Oh my god.
it's so disappointing to see. There's like really one good episode in it, and it's like the second episode. The 2 or 3 episodes at the end where he has his yeah, the 2 or 3 episodes at the end. It's just like
I'm gonna
it's
sit
just
down and watch
ridiculous.
it starting tonight, man. Because now you got my wheels turning. Because I actually made the attempt to start it, but like I said, to me that very first episode, I really couldn't get into it,
I don't blame you. I don't
and I was
blame
just like, no. So you know what, man? We gonna get into this list before you make me hate Star Wars. Like you got me looking at it different now already. Like I'm
Well,
picturing all these things in my mind, and I'm like, I already know you're gonna be upset in my rankings here. So,
we may not be too far behind, but
we gonna
here's
be all the way off.
are we gonna be all the way off? Well, okay.
Just
Well,
based on this conversation so far, it's like, oh,
here's what I have to say to you, basically. you don't hate Star Wars because Star Wars is still great. It's got like the older Star Wars stuff. Don't like any of the new Star Wars stuff. If it's new characters, they're probably garbage. They're probably poorly written. They're probably, I hate saying female centric because I feel like that's all Disney Star Wars is, and it comes off as me sounding it comes off of me sounding sexist or chauvinist pig or anything like that, which I'm not. I want to see great female characters. I don't want to see female characters that's put out there just to put out a female
It
character and have her
feels
be poorly
forced,
written.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
I don't want to be forced. Give me Princess Leia again. Give me a girl like a Mara Jade. Give me a girl like Padme. You know, there's so many others. A Shakti, a great Jedi warrior. Ashoka, which really is a Disney Star Wars creation, is maybe the best one. Gina Carano's character that she played in Mandalorian was great. Then they fired her. So, but look,
Yeah,
the
I get
the
it. It
the
makes perfect sense.
original six Star Wars films, from the Phantom Menace to Return of the Jedi, are great films. Um, watch those. Don't watch the last three that were made. Please just burn that from your memory and never force those onto your children because you have to call CPS on yourself.
So you know what? That's perfect. That's a perfect transition into this rankings. Now, how do you want to do it? Because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna upset some people.
Well, here we'll start from the bottom and work our way up.
All right.
We could do like Drake, classic Drake. Start from the bottom. Now here, I mean, that's y'all super fan, so I know you know that song. Although he been putting money on everybody but UK after they
Man, he done forgot about us, man. Like honestly though, and not to get sidetracked, I feel like that all was a recruiting tactic, and we know it. We know what was going on.
Well, look, as long as you don't show up at Cameron Indoor, that's all that matters. Tell his ass to go to Ruck. Shit.
Right. Right. So how I done mine was we all know Rogue One, Han Solo. I excluded those. I
Okay.
specifically just ranked the 9 episodes.
Okay.
I enjoyed Rogue One. I thought Rogue One was interesting. I liked how they, done that. The whole let's get the
And you want to know why? Because it felt real. It felt like you
right,
were in a living, breathing world there that, people were, it didn't seem like everybody was incompetent.
right, and how it tied into A New Hope. Like that was perfect. Like they bridged the gap. You know what I'm saying? Like that was perfect. The Han Solo joint was entertaining. You know what I'm saying? I get it. So number 9 for me.
All right.
Get ready to piss some people off. I know it.
All right.
A New Hope.
What?
A New Hope.
Okay, I'll let you explain yourself before I have you hit the button.
A New Hope was just dry to me. Like I get it.
Okay.
At that time, we're talking about a time period before I was even born.
Correct. Same for me.
You had to introduce this, and the fact that they're starting with episode 4, I get it. But what made me a Star Wars fan, I like the fighting scenes. I like the action about it all. So waiting for that period to understand how all of this was being pieced together is like watching paint dry. That's kind of how I felt about A New Hope. But then once you started getting towards the end of it and it all started kind of clicking or whatever, then okay, boom, I enjoyed it. But out of the 9 episodes, in terms of a entertainment value, in the order, if somebody's like, here, you got to watch all 9 of them, that's the one that's going to be last for me.
All right. Well, whatever you do, don't ever say that to somebody that's a true Star Wars fan face to face.
At all, because I already know to 99.9% of the people, that is by far the greatest one, hands down.
And if you, in the words of my man Jim Jones, you get your kufi smacked off.
So you say hit the button on that one.
Yeah, hit the button for it. Yeah, so I already told you what I felt is the worst, and that's the Rise of Skywalker. It's absolute trash. It's some of the worst cinema movie making I've ever seen, and every Star Wars fan that knows his worth um, is Star Wars, fandom fishing out like I am. They probably have it right there as well.
I agree. A lot of critics
Um,
have that one ranked as the worst.
you have A New Hope. See, here's what we're gonna do. You give your movie pick, I'll give my movie pick, and then we'll see. I'll show you where I have it on my list. Um, I have A New Hope at number 2.
Okay.
It's a classic. Um, really, what it established a fandom that if it wasn't for that, we're not talking about any of this right here. Um, multi multi-billion-dollar franchise starting film that inspires so much other sci-fi at the time, or so much sci-fi has been inspired by Star Wars because of A New Hope.
Of course.
Just seeing Darth Vader come out in those opening scenes in the hallway, like, man, get out my way, all right? A dude dressed in all black, voiced by James Earl Jones and stuff like that. Then you got Han, he shoots old boy first. The Millennium Falcon. Then you get the X-wings, the Death Star trench. It's so much great things happen in that. For me, it's I just remember going to the movie theater in '97 and watching that for the 20th year anniversary that they did the remastered release version, and just watching it in the movie. I had already seen it, but like seeing it in the movie theater is incredible. Um, so yeah, no, A New Hope number 2 for me is a cinematic classic, one of the best movies of the '70s, probably.
So I said I respect it. Like I'm not gonna downgrade it or anything like that. Like I said, this is just based on entertainment value, and that's why I tell people. That's why I said it in the beginning of this conversation. It's like I don't know if I put myself in the category. It's like, oh man, I'm a diehard Star Wars. That's why I was like, I enjoy it because the stories are entertaining to me. Like I can sit down and watch that all day long.
I get it. And for entertainment purposes, I think that's one thing Disney and Disney Star Wars and Disney Marvel does very well. They know how to entertain um, their audience. They know, oh yeah, we're gonna put a big explosion right here. We're gonna do some fight
Yep.
scenes.
And
We're gonna
I'm
make
the
some
sucker that falls
jokes.
for it.
That's okay.
I'm
You
the
know,
sucker that falls for it.
and really, that's entertainment purposes. Supposed to. A lot of people like to go into entertainment and just turn their mind off and enjoy it, and not have to think and worry about that stuff. That's fine. On one hand, I can't do that for everything. I'm sorry, and I just can't
Right.
do it for Star Wars.
Especially for people that are like fans of the books and things like the history of it all going into it. So you can't just turn a switch off when you're like,
Correct.
okay, I know you can't just lay a trail of breadcrumbs and it's just supposed to follow every single thing, but at least stay on course for the most part. I get it. I respect it. Number 8 for me, we touched on it a little bit. Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Decent film. Like we touched on, it's like it had to start somewhere. So I enjoyed how they done that, but I was still kind of puzzled with the whole Anakin, this child beyond his years. Like we gotta free him from slavery. And then the whole like the council was like, no, we don't want no parts of this. But then everybody else is like, no, we're gonna do it anyway, type thing. And I'm just like, okay, to me, it kind of contradicts itself in my mind. It's like the council is telling you we don't agree with this decision, but then it's like, no, he's the chosen one. Like it has to happen. And that's why I was just kind of like, ah. But then at that point in time, that was what, 99, I think.
Yeah, 99.
You started getting a lot of the computer generated type things, and I was kind of turned off by that back then. Where now I appreciate it more now.
More.
But it's like at that point in time, it was like once you watch those first 3 episodes, 4, 5, and 6, and then you went and saw that, and it's like you felt like it was being goofy. That's how I looked at it.
I can kind of see that. I can kind of see that. I know Yoda and the Phantom Menace is still animatronic, like he was in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I know he was still animatronic there, but it here's where I have Phantom Menace as my fifth best Star Wars film.
Okay.
And really, when you think about Phantom Menace, of course, we're introduced to Obi Wan as a young Jedi. You have Qui Gon Jinn, who was his master and teacher. Of course, Mace Windu, played by Samuel L. Jackson, was great to see on film.
Right.
But really, episode 1 is really remembered for two really great scenes. And these scenes really make um, they make the film, and I think they're probably some of the most memorable scenes in all of Star Wars. When you go back look at the 9 films all together, that's the pod race scene. We had never seen anything like that. The sense of speed, the things that they're doing, and really it's really visually stunning to watch and see for the first time. And the duel, the duel at the end, you know,
Of course.
Obi Wan and Qui Gon versus Darth Maul, and we had never seen a fight like that ever because you know we're used to the episode 4 Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. That's basically two old men going back with their sticks and stuff, with their lightsabers going back and forth, and same thing really. And for the rest of the original trilogy, but then now we're seeing so much movement, people seeing so much, flashing back and forth the lightsabers, and then you have that opening scene where Darth Vader reveals himself to these guys, and he's in his black robe, and he points out his lightsaber, and one side lights up, and the other side lights up. Like, oh my God, this man has two blades. Mind blown. Boom. Okay, that right there, and then plus the music that goes along with those scenes, I still hear it right now. It's iconic. That's an iconic Star Wars fight scene. It may be the best ever Star Wars fight scene right there. I can't put it lower than
And
5
that
right there for me.
it's just gonna be perfect because you're thinking along the same track as me in
Hmm.
terms of how I'm listing all this here. So we'll keep going. I put The Force Awakens at number 7.
Okay. All right. Do you got a I agree E button? Because I have it at 7 as well.
And that's one of those things where it's like, I get it. You have to introduce and recreate, draw people in type thing. But even watching that, it was still too many questions that just kind of like, okay, how did y'all come up with this? Like, how did we get here? And I know at the time a lot of people was upset because it's like, okay, she just picks up a lightsaber and just starts swinging it. Finn picks up this lightsaber. He's like, how?
But remember when I told you about the classic bait and switch leading up to the film, because we didn't know much. They didn't give us much about it. They built it up as this was a new trilogy. We got this new big bad. The Empire is still around somehow, which we never got explained. Um, got Han, Luke, and Leia are all in this film together. That's where we were sold, but then we see this black guy that we don't know anything about. Then we have this Ray that we don't know anything about, and characters, and we see little BB-8, little cute little BB-8, who once again another ploy to sell toys and merchandise by Disney.
Hey, you
Um,
know what?
it's true, it's true. So you get all of that, and we're all thinking, oh yes, the black guy is going to be the main character in this movie because once again, we didn't know. And really, you start off, the black guy is a stormtrooper. You know, he's on this planet, whatever. And then you see Kylo Ren, and he's black, just like Darth Vader. We don't know that he's Darth Vader's grandson at the time. So we was like, oh man, this dude must be trying to be the new Darth Vader. And then he stops the shot with his hand in the air. Had never seen that before. And it's like, man, this dude is really like powerful. Like, oh man, this is a huge thing. And you see Finn basically go AWOL from being, which what he does. He goes AWOL, breaks out this guy that is a rebel pilot who he doesn't know. It's like, hey man, I'm ready to leave. I need you to fly me out of here. Okay, you're just going to trust this random guy for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Those were the questions. I was just like, okay, like now that's why I said earlier, I was like, now you pulling me in with the sloppy writing. Like, yeah.
But then it gets better. It gets better because from there, all right, they escape together. They end up on the new Death Star planet, whatever. And Finn and Kylo Ren are facing off. Kylo Ren pulls out the lightsaber. He had that cool little scene with the lightsaber is blue and his lighting up his face and everything. And then he gets mollywopped. And then guess who comes out of nowhere to save him? Guess who comes out of nowhere to save him? Rey, the bestest ever, comes out of nowhere. She pulls a lightsaber, and she's never held a lightsaber before. But oh yeah, I'm gonna know what to do. And now she's swinging and going up against Kylo Ren, who was trained by the greatest Jedi of all time and his uncle Luke Skywalker, and she's going bar for bar with him with the lightsaber. With once again, she's never held before ever. And they're on this planet that's falling apart. She manages to wound him. He is so mad at she lets him get away and everything like that. She saves Finn and this all this stuff, and we're led to believe that Finn and Rey are going to fall in love and have this
I
great
was mad about
relationship.
that. You're right. I will say that. I was mad about that because I just knew as this progressed, that's what was gonna happen. And I don't know if that was one of those things where once you started reading the feedback and things like that, it's almost like, nah, we can't let that go.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you know what's crazy when it comes to Disney Star Wars and this film in particular, like the feedback, I was not I didn't hate Finn's character. I just thought he was poorly written. He did the best that he could do with what he was done, and that's the reason why he came out with the backlash after those films came out. It's like they wasted my character, which they did, because the director for episode 7, J.J. Abrams, did not sign on for episode 8. They gave it to Rian Johnson. And Rian Johnson took everything that J.J. Abrams did with episode 7 and said, hey, you see my hat right here? Can you see my hat? Yeah, this is episode 7. Yeah, I'm going to throw it down the hallway here. All right. Because we're not doing any of that stuff anymore.
Oh wow. Yeah, you educating me now, man. That's why I was just like, I get it. I get why a lot of people were upset with how those last 3 episodes went.
Yeah.
So it moves me to number 6.
All right.
Attack of the Clones.
Man, once again, need to hit the button because I agree with you on there.
Okay.
There we go.
We'll clap it up for that.
Clap it up.
At least we somewhere on the same wavelength. Again, entertainment, brilliant. Mm-hmm. Like I can sit down and watch that. Fight scenes, flashy lights, like you said, explosions.
The introduction of Jango Fett, the father of Boba Fett, was just incredible. You have the fight scene between Yoda and Count Dooku at the end of the film. Once again, we had never seen anything like that, just like we had never seen Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan like that. But I think it was so surprising because we had always seen Yoda as a short, stocky, like 2 foot nothing character. And then you see Count Dooku, who's this old, wise, Grand Master and stuff like that. And like, Yoda, where are you about to get destroyed? And he whips out that thing, he pulls out his, and
Yeah,
when he's jumping all over and doing the flip flop. Man, look, that was incredible. That was,
absolutely.
and for that to come at the end after you saw Qui-Gon, not Qui-Gon, after you see Count Dooku take out Obi-Wan and Anakin back to back,
hmm
and it's like, wow.
But here's the thing, though, because here's where I appreciated the whole entire thing, because even as it started out, you started seeing the little signs of Anakin slowly making that transition. Like he's just refused to listen. Like you saw that thirst starting to form for he wants to have this power, or he's like, I know I'm going to be the greatest Jedi ever. They just don't see it type thing.
Yeah, Anakin Skywalker is the biggest case of feeling himself too much.
Exactly. And it's like, all right, boom. First thing, he runs straight in, gets his arm cut off for just losing his mind, just reacting. And then when you fast forward to the Obi Wan series, and it's like me watching that, it's like, okay, you're still looking at it in a sense of this is a young Darth Vader, still angry at what happened following episode 3, and he still hasn't learned. Like he's just react. Like there's no thought into it. And that's where I was entertained by it, and I actually enjoyed it, because I'm like, I'm looking at it from that perspective. Like Obi-Wan is still miles ahead of him in terms of wisdom. And this guy's just what, even all the pulling ships out of the sky and breaking things and this and that. Like, even with all that power, you still don't have the wisdom. And that's how all of it, like, it made sense to me. I was looking at it like, okay, this is young Darth Vader.
Yeah. But you have to remember, this is a guy that's been Darth Vader for 10 years. So you mean to tell me, and once again, it goes back to poorly written, not well thought out. You mean to tell me this guy, okay, we saw him do some incredible scenes, do some incredible stuff in episode 5, do some incredible stuff with Obi-Wan in episode 3 or 4, basically, to where, we were shown just how powerful this guy could be. And like, you mean to tell me all of a sudden he doesn't have control? You what? What do you like? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It only makes sense because the writers were trying to do something that they shouldn't have been doing to begin with. That's the only way it makes sense.
That's fair. That's fair. I can't
But
argue.
episode 6, a great film. You saw Mace Windu fighting Jango Fett, which was short lived for Jango Fett. But that whole scene with them in the Coliseum
Yeah.
fighting against those animals when they're supposed to be getting eaten to death and stuff, that was cool. The sound for that, really, that's where it's funny. You see the Slave One, which was Jango Fett's starship, and it launches out that mine, and that mine just explodes in those asteroids, and it gives like a classic Star Wars. It's iconic sound that you can. They say some pictures you can't hear a picture. If I were to see that picture of that, I can hear that. I know what that sounds like. I've heard it. I've seen it. Like, it's iconic. And those movies from the prequel and the original Star Wars gave you those great moments. You don't get any of that stuff from the new. They don't have any of those great moments. They don't get. Oh man, nobody's talking about any of those scenes from the sequel trilogy 3-4 years later. Because they're not worth talking about. They're all garbage.
Yeah,
But continue.
this is where you're gonna be upset.
That's fine. That's fine. I got the time.
Number 5,
All
man.
right.
The Rise of Skywalker. For a lot of the things that you have already mentioned in this conversation, and again, me not knowing a lot of the background stories and following books and things like that, I go into a movie theater with zero expectations. I have no idea what's getting ready to happen or none of that. So when they start introducing and saying things, I'm blown back. Like I'm full wow mode.
Okay.
And the fight scenes, the lights, they're fighting on the water. The only blowback that threw me off was when she started healing old buddy. Like,
oh yeah, with
I'm like,
the
is this
force heal
really
that she hadn't been shown or hadn't been taught how to use or anything like that.
like
Yeah.
now y'all just turning this into a circus. But from a entertainment value,
Oh yeah, it's
I
great.
enjoyed it.
Oh man, people were definitely eating that popcorn, getting it.
Right.
Oh man, I couldn't believe it.
Right.
I've never seen it in real life. I just played it in video games like that. Oh, it's so
Exactly. And
incredible.
I'm glad you said it because I commented, I think it was on your post or somebody's post, and I was like, the old school joint, I can't remember if it was on PS3, PS4, The Force Awakens, the video game. It's like, I loved it. Like, you sitting there moving stuff and this and that. So it's like the episodes 4, 5, and 6, you got a small taste of it. But with the advancement of technology and being able to do all that, it's like now with these newer episodes, they're able to use their imagination and just give you all this special effects type stuff. So for somebody like me, I was blown away by it. But for somebody that's like die hard, we know what's going on. It's like, okay, this is overkill. So I get it.
All right.
Where do you have you already said the Rise of Skywalker is dead last, right?
Dead last. And here's another thing that's really funny. You the fight on the water. What's it? I even hate that I remember most of this movie. What I do. Like that whole scene. Like once again, Luke only trained her for about like that.
2 minutes, right? But
He
you know what?
trained.
Hold, pause real quick. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
You good?
Because I will say that's another thing that I did not like. I felt like they could have done so much more with Luke.
Of course.
So go ahead. My bad.
No, so much could have been done with Luke. Like what we see with Luke is an episode. We haven't gotten to the Last Jedi yet, but it was an emasculated man. He was what we last see of Luke Skywalker at the end of episode 6. He's defeated the Emperor. He's overcome so much, defeated his father, but has also saved his father at the end as well. Had his father have his father redeem himself and come back to the light. And we see Luke as a strong character, this man that's going to, rebuild the Force, and he's going to hopefully have a Jedi Academy. He's going to do all these great things and do so many great things and to help the people of the galaxy. And when we see him again, he's a hermit drinking walrus milk, space walrus milk. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we see him doing next. But we'll talk more about the Last Jedi in a moment. Rise of Skywalker. So the scene at the end. First of all, I bashed the planet that the Emperor was hiding on. I bashed that because it deserves to be bashed. Because how is the world? And I hate this anytime they do it. Oh yeah, it's this planet that's so far away to get to. You need this secret like GPS system to even navigate your way to it. And then when you navigate to it, you're gonna be flying through all this other like what in the world like are you guys coming up with? That was just stupid. But the planet did look cool, it had the lightning all over the place.
That's what I'm saying. I was just sitting there eating it all up.
This big giant this big giant stone cube that had the lightning in it, and then you eventually see all these, people, but you didn't see their faces, but you saw these people that's in there, like the emperor had this big party at all times. They're just sitting there, that's chilling with them at all times and stuff like that. You had that, but then here's a real kicker. Okay, you had all these thousands and thousands of all these starships underneath the ground. One, why? Why'd you build all these? If you had all these starships all this time, why would you keep thousands of them hidden underground? And each of these starships is as powerful as one Death Star. Each of them. Each of them has a laser that can literally blow up a planet. Okay. And yet, these starships are not smart enough or not powerful enough to navigate out of the atmosphere of the planet that they were built on. They need a little satellite dish, okay? They need a satellite dish that's located on the ground to be able to help them to navigate out of the planet's atmosphere. One, that's stupid and poorly written and lazy. Then after that, you have Lando using the Millennium Falcon, comes out of hyperspace with just like 2 minutes of warning, blasts a signal to every ship that he can find, okay, to come to this planet that nobody else could. Once again, nobody else knew how to navigate to this planet, but yet Lando is able to lead thousands and thousands of random spaceships to this planet to fight
Oh
the
my
Empire once
God.
again. And here's a kicker. They win. How? 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 This incompetence, that's the only way you can explain it, is massive, massive incompetence and poorly written.
Bro,
Poorly written. That's the
my
reason why this is the worst Star Wars film for me.
my
In my
mind
book.
is completely blown.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my
but
God.
then you have at the end, once again, you have Rey Skywalker. No, Rey Palpatine. Okay. She has a one-on-one battle with the Emperor. Now, granted, the Emperor, by all intents and purposes, is one of the most evil and yet most powerful beings in the Star Wars galaxy. Rey is able to use Force Ghosts to give her power, a power that we've never seen happen before, to defeat the Emperor.
I'm gonna have to watch this tonight.
And
I'm gonna
no,
sit down and watch
please
it
don't.
from
Please
a
don't.
whole different. No, you got
Please
my
don't.
mind open, man. Like
I'd rather you watch the 2015 Final Four game. That's really. I'd rather you watch that. I'd rather you watch that. I wouldn't wish this on you again, my brother. I wouldn't wish this on you again, man. She takes then she defeats her grandfather, the emperor, okay, and then takes the name of the greatest.
Skywalker.
She
Oh my God.
once again, the rise of all these names are terrible. The Force Awakens, the Last Jedi, the Rise of Skywalker, they're all terrible. It's going to be called Crap 1, Crap 2, and Crap 3, the end. Thank God.
You win. You
Okay.
win. So number 4, I don't even want to go into depth on that. I put the Last Jedi.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's 8 for you.
That is 8.
Okay.
That is 8.
All
And
right.
the only cool scene in The Last Jedi, okay, first of all, The Last Jedi had a bunch of terrible scenes. I already mentioned the stuff with Luke and Rey. The stuff where they had to go to that planet to find the guy at the space casino or whatever, that stuff is terrible. Everything else with the movie is terrible, except for one scene that has any lasting memory. And that is the fight scene in the in Snoke's throne room on the ship. But
Yeah.
even then, that scene is so poorly choreographed. If you go back and watch that scene, Ray should have been cut to 1,000 pieces about 18 times by the the Emperor's very cool looking but
Yeah.
very useless bodyguards. Should have been cut to 1,000 pieces 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was not that was the only redeemable moment from that film.
So let's get into it. My top three. I don't even want to like. Oh my god, you just really like. And from listening to all of that, it's like now episodes 7, 8, and 9 is like, damn, like you can't argue that.
No.
You
It's
can't-
like it's like looking at a bag full of dog crap. And then oh, it's another bag of dog crap. And no, oh, it's a bigger bag of dog crap at the end. Thank God.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Thank God.
Number 3, Empire Strikes Back.
Very interesting that you had this as number 3. Let's give our final top 3. So you have Empire Strikes Back at 3. So give me your 2 and 1.
Return of the Jedi, number 2, and
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith to me is the all-time, like, that is by far my favorite. That is, it don't get better than that to me.
I think that's respectable. Respectable for what we see there at the end. I have Revenge as number 4. I have Return of the Jedi as number 3, and I have Empire Strikes Back as 1. Um, Empire Strikes Back, for me, that battle on Hoth was just so incredible to me as a kid, and seeing that. Um, then you had Luke going to Dagobah and training with Yoda, and then you had everything else that happened with those guys while he's training. You know, they go to Lando, and Lando, you know, is cool, suave, debonair, black guy. First time really seeing a black guy in Star Wars. You know, he's like a space pimp, but he ran everything. You know, he, he was like what's my man Dave from American Gangster that Denzel Washington played.
Frank Lucas.
Yeah, he was Frank Lucas, but he wasn't running Blue Magic, you know. He was running Basement City. That's what he was doing. So, you
That's
know,
fair.
he was fresh, you know, he would run everything. But then, you know, he had Darth Vader come in. Yet Boba Fett get introduced really to us for the first time. And you know, that line was, what did he say? Uh he's like, that's not the agreement that we had. The agreement is changed, and let's hope I don't change it anymore.
Yeah.
Like that was really, really cool. But yeah, that movie, and then the ultimate uh what is it? Cliffhanger at the time. It's probably one of the 5 greatest reveals in cinema history. When Luke is like, "You killed my father," he's like, "No, I am your father." Mind blown. Like what? Like
Yeah.
how? What?
Yeah.
That's your father the whole time. This was your father, and it's like crazy. So that whole movie, the way it was shot, how it looks, the great moments, the characters we were introduced to, it's one of the all time greats. Return of the Jedi, another great movie. One of the best. When you think of trilogy movies that are really good, that where the movie comes to an end at the trilogy, Return of the Jedi may be the best. You know, you think about what other great ones. Godfather 3 isn't really the greatest. Um, Matrix Revolutions was good for me. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked it. I'm trying to think of another 3. See, there aren't very many. A lot of times when you get a lot of big movie sequels, they go 4, 5, and 6, unless you go Fast and Furious, which is going to go to Fast and Furious 15 probably. So it was a great ending to a story that we were given. It wrapped everything up really great. Like I said, it had the redemption of Vader at the end. You had the Empire. We had the Emperor really get to see him on screen for the first time. And I think really when you see him on screen, you really get a true sense of just how powerful the Empire is and how massive they are. I mean, you see him walking out of this ship. You got the whole like Star Bay, whatever, hangar bay that's packed with nothing but his people. And he comes out that thing dressed in black with his red Imperial guard next to him, like, what up, y'all? I own this thing. All right.
Yeah.
Take me to my suite real quick. All right. Me
Yeah.
and my hey Vader, come with me. We gotta walk and talk, baby. All right. I ain't stopping for nobody. All right. That's you
So
saw
what?
how much of a boss he really was. My only gripe with Return of the Jedi is I hate the Ewoks.
I knew you
I
was going there.
hate the
And that to
Ewoks.
me, they were hilarious. Like, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people's like, man, that's cheesy, that's whatever. But I was like, to me, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I always got a kick out of it.
Well, and once again, like I said, the same thing earlier. Baby Yoda, BB-8, Ewoks. They're all there to sell merchandise. Stuffed teddy bear Ewoks. Come on now. Baby Yodas everywhere. You go get Baby Yoda balloon, Baby Yoda poster, Baby Yoda on your T-shirt, BB-8s on your T-shirt as well. You know, it's all they're all there for merchandise. They're plot fillers. Like
That's fair.
to think that, and this is like I said, this is my biggest gripe with the Return of the Jedi. The Death Star 2 is this massive, massive Death Star that's bigger than the original Death Star, and its only vulnerability is this little bitty like shield base on this planet that is guarded by all these stormtroopers, but yet these stormtroopers cannot outsmart these little 3 foot, 4 foot nothing teddy bears on this planet. Like, come on now, man, really?
That's fair. That's fair. And
Yeah.
that's why I feel like how you feel about Return of the Jedi is how I feel about Revenge of the Sith. Because it's like growing up, you know what I'm saying? Me and my brother are 6 years apart, so he's older than me. So he was the diehard Star Wars person.
Okay.
I got turned on to Star Wars because he was watching it, and I'm a young kid sitting there soaking it all in. And I was in college when they done the anniversary set for I don't know what year it was of episodes 4, 5, and 6 because I have it on DVD, the little gold box and all that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I was pissed off, excuse my language, because I hated how you started noticing where Jabba had been redone.
We done?
Like, why? Like, why? So when you watch episodes 1 and 2 and you see Jabba move, and I'm like, that was foreign to me. But once I saw episode 3, and this is when all the puzzle pieces just started connecting. You see Anakin just completely lose it. Now he's completely turned to the dark side. You see how they done flipped the whole, like everything. And then the way it ended, that whole, like that to me is one of the best fight scenes between him and Obi Wan.
Oh yeah.
Like it doesn't get any better than that. And that's why when I saw the Obi, going back to the whole how this conversation even came about, you're watching the Obi-Wan series, and it gave you that feel again to me. Like I'm watching this and I'm looking at them going back and forth, and now all I keep hearing is you saying, "Man, here, let's throw an explosion here, let's throw an explosion there," and that's how they kind of pulled us into it. But Revenge of the Sith was, to me, it was perfect, man. Like that whole, like, he's like, I have the higher ground. So he's so angry, so to where he's not even thinking clear. And then boom, he jumps up and then he hits the ground and he has no limbs. And I'm sitting there like, what in the world? And then he's like, I hate you. Like that to me was like, that whole scene in its own self to me was like, that was just fire. Like that was dope. And then the whole purpose of him going to the dark side, you felt like he had good reasoning for it. Unfortunately, if you go that route, there's only bad things that can come from it. But overall, his intentions were, I have to save Padme at all costs.
And it costs. And it cost him everything.
Exactly. So it's like, you see that, you get introduced to Luke and Leia.
Mm-hmm.
You see Darth Vader come together, and then even out the gate when he tells him that she died, and him just crushing everything. He's still chained down to this table, but he just crushed everything, and it's like, now all of it comes together for me. And at that point, I was just like, dude, like, this is by far the dopest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. That was, I think, from the moment where it's revealed that Emperor Palpatine, or that Darth Sidious is Chancellor Palpatine,
Mhm.
by Anakin to Mace Windu and the Jedi Council, I think that movie right there really gets good and everything. So the last 2/3 of Revenge of the Sith are really good. I thought it was, when the movie opened and you see that great epic space battle scene above Coruscant, I thought that was really good. There were some parts in it where the droids were talking that I thought was goofy and corny and cheesy that I don't like. But that scene where Palpatine is sitting on the chair and Count Dooku and Anakin fight again in a rematch, and Anakin just bop, 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 and he ends up chopping his arms off, and he's sitting down there on the ground, and the Emperor looks at him, who the Emperor's been teaching him as well, and he's like, finish him. And Dooku looks over at him like his big eye, like, what, you're gonna have? And slices his head off. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you met my new boy is gonna take
Yeah.
care of my business real quick. That was cool. Order 66.
Amazing.
Yeah, just the execution of that, because we don't know how the movie is going to go about ending the war and ending, all these Jedi, because there's tons of Jedi out there, but at the same time, all these Jedi are fighting with these clones.
Exactly.
And when it hits, it's like, oh no, like, oh my God, like, so many of these guys that you liked, and yeah,
It's up there, and that's why it's like, it's hard to go against the original. Like, you try everything in your power to protect the original, like
Mhm.
4, 5, and 6, and that's why when everybody's like New Hope is at the bottom, it's not out of like it was a bad movie. Again, my list is just entertainment, but Revenge of the Sith, man, it's like you can't argue it at all.
And what Revenge of the Sith gets right in the end is showing the pain that Anakin goes through in his transformation to Darth Vader. And you see that, and you see him being manipulated
Yeah,
to feel this way by Palpatine, which for Palpatine, it was like, man, this is the easiest. I didn't have to train Darth Maul. I done got Count Dooku on my side. I had to deal with General Grievous and get him to be one of my guys. Anakin Skywalker is easy compared to these other
right.
dudes, man. Only thing I gotta tell him is some story about being able to save somebody from the dead and not have to do it in the end. Man, sign me up for this dude, man, for
Exactly.
real.
And that's
So
perfect. That's perfect. And this is how we can tie it all back in, and we can wrap it up, because I'm glad we had this conversation.
yes, it's
And that's
good.
why I laid it out in the beginning. I was like, this can be an educational opportunity for me to understand you're not the only person that feels like that. Like, there is tons of people that felt that way. So with me saying Revenge of the Sith is the top of the top for me, and then you sit down and you watch the Obi Wan series, and then you see that this goes all the way back to where Vader killed the younglings, and then here's this chick that was a part of that scene, and that's how I'm sitting there like fully entertained.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's so when I saw your post and it's like, this was bad. This was bad. I was just like, how? How?
Because
But I
here's
get your perspective now.
here's the thing. It doesn't make sense because we were seeing what we were shown in the scenes of um, Order 66 from every vantage point is, once they got a Jedi down, they made sure he was down. There's a scene in Revenge of the Sith where one girl is lit up.
Yeah.
Another dude is lit up. All right. They made sure you were down and down for the count. And so just to think like once again, all these younglings Anakin goes and kills with no problem. And just one black girl, this happens to be the one. She just happens to be the one that somehow survives getting ran through with a lightsaber. Okay. And then from there, she survives. She somehow is able to make it out of Jedi Temple and live on the streets of Coruscant until she's found by Inquisitors. Inquisitors, it's like, you know what? We're going to bring you within our ranks. We're going to make you one of us. Don't question her past. Don't figure out, oh, this was a youngling at the Jedi Temple that, you were. No, no, no. We're just gonna let her be groomed by one of us and see what she does. And she does all this other stuff. She does the Inquisitor's bidding. She goes around, capturing other Jedi, looking for other Jedi, killing anybody that gets in their way. You saw on the show, she cut a lady's hand off, which I thought was pretty cool, by the way. Cut it off with the quickness. Like, okay, see, we maybe going somewhere. And then just for it all to come back to Darth Vader knew the entire time. Really?
Oh wow. Okay.
And he hits her with, "You think I didn't know, youngling? You think I didn't know?"
Dang.
And then once again, like I said, she ends up she is once again. It's so stupid. We've seen this dude. We've seen Anakin Skywalker literally cut through people with like it was nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
We saw it in Rogue One. We saw it in Episode 3, like I said, with Count Dooku. We've seen him be able to do it like it's nothing. So to see him leave such an important character that we knew was trying to kill him alive. Why? Why? The only reason they did that because they want to give Reva her own show. That is what they're going to do.
You win. I'm blown away.
Yeah.
Like,
And not to and not
wow.
to not to mention that once again, like I said, I'd rather this show not have happened because now when you watch episode 4, you're gonna be like, why is Luke like not remembering or not talking about, oh yeah, Jedi. You know what? I remember being chased by an evil Jedi all those years ago when I was 10. They came to my house, they fought with my aunt and uncle, and I was running through the canyon trying to get away, and then bam, I fell and hit my head, and I don't remember anything about that, but I knew it was a Jedi. I knew it was one of those dark Jedi. I can't remember their name. It was some black lady, I think. Cause, but yeah,
Wow.
once again, like I said, I rather them have not made this show because once again, for continuity's sake, it's terrible for the show. For lore sake, it's terrible. For this absolute like canon, it is like it's absolutely terrible, and it reminds me of I don't know, you probably didn't watch this show, but there's a show I like that's or I like the Halo shows. or I like the what is it? God dang it! I'm a huge Halo fan. Okay, I read the books, I played the games, I know about what goes on. And in the Halo show that was on Paramount Plus, they absolutely took everything that was great about Halo and like my hat that I threw down the hallway, that's what they did because they went another episode, they went a completely different direction. And somebody said that the Halo, it was an adaptation that tries to reinvent the source material and not adapt to it. What this Obi Wan Kenobi show did was they tried to reinvent the characters of the original trilogy that we've seen, not adapt to them. Okay. They tried to take what we already knew and basically retcon everything. And they did a poor job at doing it. They did an absolute poor job of doing it. And that was my whole reason why I said Star Wars. Disney Star Wars is bad. Disney Marvel is bad. And all this stuff with Disney is just to put people in seats, just to get content on their streaming service, just so they can make more money. But hey, it's going perfectly well for Disney as a whole right now because their stock price is the same exact stock price as what it was 8 years ago. The same exact price.
You know what? You can't follow up with that at all.
I try to be real with people, man. I try to
That's
be
where
real.
we gonna drop the mic, man. This is a great conversation, man, and I'm gonna make sure I hashtag it out. Hopefully, Star Wars fans from everywhere
I
come
hope so
across
too.
this in some shape, form, or fashion because this was a great conversation, man. Like,
I hope so too, man. You know, I could talk Star Wars for days. I could talk sports for days. Things I'm passionate about, I
right,
have great knowledge about. So I appreciate you having me back here. I like the poster on the wall. Is that T Mac? I can't really tell who that
where
is.
right here?
Yeah, is that
That's Monk, UK.
Malik Monk? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
that's Malik Monk.
okay. Now I see the Jordan on the wall. That you got the man right there. All right, that's there. Who's that above that in that picture with their above Malik Monk in that?
That's LeBron, K Love, and J.R. Smith on ring night.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay.
As a picture,
That's
I
you
was
on
in
the
the
court.
building on
Oh
ring
Lord.
night, man. I'm a
Oh
LeBron
Lord.
guy, dog. I'm a LeBron guy. We definitely gonna have to chop it up about sports. And like I said, man, you bring a lot of insight to conversations, and that's why I
We'll,
really wanted to have this one.
we'll bring more, you know, and like I said, I still want to talk about the Rolling Stones 200 rap
We
list because
we gonna have
I
to
can yeah, I
definitely
gotta
dive in.
go in on that one because man, whew,
That was that was bad too.
we might have to do a part two on that. That might have to be a two-parter
Yeah,
where
and
we
that's
talk
honestly
about
like that's how I'm trying to figure out how to tie that in because that's such a large
lists.
list and how to box that into an actual conversation because that list that they came up with it was just all over the place and nah
Absolutely, absolutely gross and disgusting to see some of the albums that are on there from people that don't even people that just barely been out,
facts
and you don't have. I'm not a game fan. His music is great, but to not have the documentary,
more facts
are you kidding me? And you have Montero. I don't even want to get
facts
into.
like I
I
said
don't want to get
we
into
did
that
I don't know
conversation,
what
but
episode it was but we done a top 10 albums and top 10 this and that so that would be perfect so we'll set it up man like I said I definitely appreciate your time man it was a dope conversation I'm gonna get this put up here and shout out to all the people who have subscribed to the YouTube channel. Like I said, this is on all streaming services. So just appreciate the support, man.
yeah, it's no problem, man. Like I said, you know, it's great, and I know you said LeBron is one of the best players in NBA right now, but my man Luka Doncic is, you know, so I had to tell you that I press a button that I disagree. But you know what? That's all right. We can get about that another day, you know. My man Luka gonna be the future. So just be ready and waiting, all right.
I do agree there, man. Definitely. So appreciate you, bro. We out.
No problem, man. Be easy. God bless.
Ass toasted, no competition. Unleash coasting. I feel so high. I feel my body's in the twine. I mean, she coasting. I feel so alive, and I know why. That I can't deny. I mean, she coasting. Giddy, fine wine, fools, malt liquor. Wish me I'm high class.